Oh, it's the children. Oh.
You want burgers, hot dogs, some chicken, and ribs. Yeah! Yeah! Yeah!
You know, I'm so glad that it seems like horror movies share our same feeling that kids are fucking terrifying.
Do I have that feeling?
I don't know. Sometimes I do. You know, kids are creepy as shit.
Yes.
You know, you're just sitting there like minding your own business, and they come in. The man in the living room told me to burn things. I was like, what? Oh fuck! Now I got to kill this kid.
Why wouldn't you just kill the man in the living room?
Because there's no man in the living room. That's the creepy part.
That's bad.
That's the creepy part. Then you get a Macaulay Culkin Good Son thing on your hands, and it's just over. It's all over. You've never seen that movie, have you? The Good Son?
No.
Oh, it's weird. Macaulay Culkin's a creepy little shit in that movie. Anyway, welcome to Night at the Horror File, a horror movie and genre film podcast where I take a horror movie or genre film and show it to my beautiful wife, Brittany, who then gives us her input. Sometimes she enjoys these, sometimes she absolutely hates them. It's Troma Month, though.
It's almost over.
It's almost over. For some reason, I feel like you've been kind of enjoying the Troma Month
It's
movies.
not been bad.
Yeah, it's not been a bad month. It's been an off month, like with Troma movies, because the way I chose these were the Troma movies I feel like don't get talked about as much. Maybe they weren't produced directly by Troma, but they're distributed and they're under the Troma banner, so they count, you know? And some of these movies are real fly by under the radar movies, I think, you know? Not a lot of people really go looking at these movies when they think of Troma.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, especially today's feature, which it wouldn't be Troma Month without injecting some nuclear fear into the mix.
Oh, yeah. I was wondering when that was going to happen.
Yeah, and that comes to us today with our feature, which, by the way, what did we watch this week?
The Children.
The Children.
I was
Brittany
like,
almost forgot the title.
The fuck was it called?
The Children from 1980. Yeah, we're going back to the 80s again. You know, horror has brought us a lot of killer kids movies. The Children arrived during the start of the slasher craze, though. Around the same time, Friday the 13th. It came out the same year. And it's an independently made flick that to me sticks out because of how classic it feels. I'll kind of mention it as we go. But this was shot in 5 weeks on the East Coast, predominantly in Massachusetts. A lot of the same crew who worked on this, speaking of Friday the 13th, would go on to work on Sean Cunningham's Friday the 13th, 1980. Pretty neat, huh?
Ah, yeah.
Almost the entire crew went and worked on this on Friday the 13th because it was released the same year, like I said, and the music is almost the exact same. It is very close.
You said that, and I was like, I don't remember.
It's almost like Harry Manfredini like went into Sean Cunningham was like, well, you know, I did a score on this little shit movie called The Children. Let's just throw it in here. Let's just throw it in here because that's what it sounds like. You're expecting Jason's mom to come out of nowhere, like in this whole entire movie.
Okay.
If Pamela Voorhees has walked around the corner with this fucking score, I think. But I love a good Harry Manfredini score. But it's directed by Max Kalmanowicz. I'm saying that wrong, I'm sure. Who would go on to direct the weirdest softcore porn movie I've ever seen called Dreams Come True.
Oh, God.
It's about a couple who learn to astral project, and they're like fucking and astral projecting into different places. Then they end up going through a nightmare, and it's weird as fucking shit.
What's astral projection? Is that like teleporting?
Yeah,
kind of.
like with your spirit thing, chakras. And
Oh,
whatnot. It is weird. It is a weird movie. I don't hear anybody talk about it usually. I might be the only one who knows that movie. But this movie isn't what you would call super exciting.
Okay.
Brittany felt that, I feel like.
Yeah.
I love this movie for some reason, but I agree. It's a little slow. But the film was written by Carlton J. Albright, who would go on to write and direct a very underrated film, in my opinion, Luther the Geek. It flies under the Troma radar, too. So you can go to watch Troma now, which, by the way, all of our movies this month, I got to keep plugging this. All of our movies this month are on Troma Now, the Troma Now app, which is on Roku, and it's on your phone and your computers. So,
go
watch.troma.com. It's Troma, but now. Anyway, now, all right. You can tell he had a thing for science fiction horror flicks from the 1950s with this movie specifically, which was when the world was obsessed with nuclear power.
Oh, yeah.
And there's nuclear radiation and stuff like that. Yeah, definitely. If you threw this thing in black and white and like made it in 1956 or something, it would be right at home with a lot of those movies.
Oh, yeah.
It probably wouldn't get past the censors, but... But here's something your history books don't lay out. And I always like to point this out when people, because typically when you talk about the Cold War, people think, oh, the 80s specifically. The Cold War started in 1947, right after we dropped the bomb on Hiroshima. And it was like, Russia and everybody's flexing their nuclear dicks towards each other, trying to wait out. And the world came close to the nuclear holocaust several times.
Oh,
that's another thing your history books won't teach you because we're afraid to make people afraid. The button was almost pushed quite a few times, just saying.
Oh, no.
But, it lasted from 1947 to 1991. So that time period, you have the most amount of nuclear-based horror movies. Like we talked about in our Japanese, Japanese horror special back in the day. This is the time when you started seeing Gojira and the kaiju monsters and stuff like that.
Oh,
the nuclear fallout of that stuff. And in America, you started seeing more zombie movies.
Right.
Zombie movies and stuff like that. Just real weird shit started coming out of this. And I think that's what today's film draws from the most. But I also might be making this sound a lot better than it is.
Yes.
Which I seem to be very good at with movies like this.
I am annoyed already.
I mean, that's the funny part about this show is you guys come into this listening and you already know that I love this movie. Like, because we've never done a movie I don't like yet. I will say yet because, we will do movies I don't like as well. We'll get there.
Okay, but
it's very
are
far
there
and few
any
in between.
movies that you don't like?
Most of them are completely unwatchable. So maybe we won't do a lot of movies I don't like on the show. Because it's, like I said, the only bad movie is it's boring. That's the only thing that's bad to me. So, and a lot of these are not boring to me. Like, I don't find this boring at all. But
oh my God.
But we'll discuss as we go.
Probably because you slept through half of it. Or most of it. 89% of it. Yeah. 89% of it you slept through, I'm sure.
But
because I know I did.
I know. We'll get to it. But because I know we're going to have a blast today, let's dive into 1980s The Children.
So 2 men leave their job at the chemical plant for the day. And they were busy all day trying to chemically castrate Leigh. It just took a while. He punches really hard.
Yeah, balls. Who needs them? Anyway.
I don't need you to have them.
But speaking of killer kids for a minute.
Okay.
Killer kids have been in horror, for the longest time. You have Rosemary's Baby. Not so much a Killer Kids movie, but, it's getting there. It's like Killer Kids begins with Rosemary's Baby.
Okay.
And then you have this... I don't know, man. It's hard to really tie down when the first Killer Kid movie was because, again, I have a theory that people are terrified by children. Children are creepy. They're like little drunk humans who are trying to figure things out, and they go bad. School shootings and whatnot. Anyway,
oh God.
But my absolute favorite classic Killer Kid movie was The Bad Seed, which was released in 1956. That is a creepy Killer Kid movie. It's black and white. It's a fucking classic. You guys should definitely seek that one out. And every decade seemed to have one of these movies. Village of the Damned from 1960. 1979, you had David Cronenberg's The Brood and Children of the Corn from 1984. You get into the 2000s, you start getting fucking The Orphan and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Killer Kids movies are a thing, man. That's a whole subgenre.
So, is Chucky considered a killer kids movie or killer doll movie?
No, killer doll, because Chucky's possessed by an adult.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I would not know that because I have not seen it.
Yeah, Brittany has not seen Child's Play.
Are we really surprised?
I was going to say, are we really that surprised?
I've seen bits and pieces of it.
You have. You know what? You're going to watch Child's Play on this for the show one day, and you're going to be like, I feel like I've seen this entire thing.
No, I've seen the Bride one, like parts of the Bride one.
Oh, yeah.
Chucky's Bride.
Oh, yeah, that one's great. That one's a fun time. I saw that in theaters, believe it or not. But, also, speaking of Rosemary's Baby, this movie has a lot of those kind of like feelings in this movie.
Oh, really?
Like a lot of the creepy shots and stuff you can tell was like inspired by that. There is a lot of stuff in this movie that you can tell this kind of acts. It feels like it acts as like an audition reel for the people making it.
For a real movie? Is that what you were going to say? For a real movie, is that what you were going to say?
I'm expecting we broke the streak of likes this month. Is that what I'm hearing here on Troma Month?
Just let me have some of those chemicals, please.
We'll get to it. Let's get back to the movie, though.
Okay, so two men leave their job at the chemical plant for the day. Then we get a zoom in on a leak that is happening, and whatever is leaking is making a lot of smoke, and it's going throughout this town. Then we see a bus driving with singing kids and the bus driver, obviously, and they drive into this smoke.
Like speaking of the 80s, people were scared out of their mind of nuclear power.
Yeah.
I think for the longest time, we've all been scared of it. Like, and for good fucking reason. First of all, again, the Cold War and 3 Mile Island. You had that disaster that happened not long before this. 3 Mile Island was probably the biggest influence on this. This actual nuclear power plant scene, though, wasn't in the original script. It was supposedly filmed at a gas storage facility after the rest of the film was shot, just to add it in. And it makes me wonder, like, what was the original script like then? Did they just drive through a toxic cloud? And
that's all they did in this movie.
True. Although, it may have been a situation where just the kids went nuts. I like that. I prefer that.
Yeah.
I prefer when it's like a situation. Now, there's a movie called The Children from 2008.
I know. I was like, which movie are we
watching? Yeah. That's not a remake of this movie, but it does this kind of idea a little better. It's not it's just all of a sudden, right? Everybody's on a trip, everybody's having a good time, and all of a sudden the children turn murderous. And it's like these children, it's a slasher movie with children.
Oh.
It's good. It's very good.
That feels about appropriate.
Yeah.
Especially if it was teenage children or preteens, like, oh God.
Because first of all, and we'll get to it, but like these kids are killing people with atomic hugs. These children are murdering people with atomic hugs.
So now we meet Sheriff Billy. He's in the diner flirting with the waitress, Sally. And she makes him ask her out. She's like, you haven't asked me out yet. And he's like, yeah. And she was like, we're going out tonight.
Dang, man. Okay. I've never had that happen. I've never had a woman just be like, hey, we're going out.
Right.
Like, all right. Yes, ma'am.
So he's going to go out with her at 10 o'clock when her shift is over. Well, he leaves and he drives down the road and finds the bus, and it's by a cemetery.
Of course it's by a cemetery.
Yes.
It doesn't make a lot of sense of why the cemetery's here, because like, other than this looks cool.
Right. We don't necessarily need the cemetery. Yeah. But he goes and checks it out because the bus is kind of in the middle of the road and no one is on the bus and it's still running.
Dun, dun, dun.
So he walks down the way to one of the kids' houses. This is not very well explained, but I'm going to try to explain it from my point of view.
There's not a lot in this movie that's well explained.
Okay, so the kid's mom is some kind of mentally challenged or something. She's got some issues, and there's a doctor that lives with her.
Yeah.
Okay, well, the doctor's outside.
I think there may have been a deleted scene.
There may have been.
I feel like there's a few deleted scenes in this.
So the doctor's Billy asks the doctor if the kid has come home yet, and she says no, and she's like, I'll help you go find him, because he tells her about the bus. So she goes in to talk to the mom, and she doesn't tell her that the kid is missing. Right, something's going on with his mom. She's having a mental breakdown or something. I don't know.
Well, children.
Yeah.
Children's going wrong with this.
Not yet. So they go to check out the school bus. And Billy calls the deputy Harry to ask him if he saw the bus. And he says no. So the sheriff calls for a roadblock. He wants Harry to block off the road, and nobody can come into the town unless they live there.
Yeah, I appreciate them doing that, because like once this movie gets in full swing, you're like, where is everybody?
Yeah,
because they had to do something to make it be like, hey, we can't afford a whole giant cast of people to make this town fleshed out. And like, it's hard not to compare this movie to like Children of the Corn, which is another movie where the children all group together, start killing the adults. It's hard not to make comparisons between the two, but I kind of like how this one starts off more than Children of the Corn, even though that iconic scene of them plowing over that little kid in the car in Children of the Corn is a fantastic fucking shot. But I don't know, you know, what kind of killer kids do you prefer? You think you like the ones that are just gone psychotic, or do you like the atomic kids? You know, like something's turned them.
Well, I think the psychotic kids are more realistic.
I agree. I was wanting to discuss this because I think that's much more scarier.
Oh, yeah.
Like these kids, which there's a lot of their behaviors that doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
But these kids have been like nuclear powered. Right. Basically, you know, we'll get to it, but they're nuclear powered children. Microwave.
What do you mean we get to it? We saw what happened. They drove through the smoke. That's all we see. Yeah. And the children are just fine.
Which is easy. It seems too easy. Like I like my killer children to be like more layers to it.
Yeah.
Like, why are they this way? What made them snap? Who fucking knows?
Who knows? Hormones.
I still say that 2008 movie, now that I'm thinking about it, really does feel like a remake of this movie. Like, I know they're like, no, it's not a remake. It's a completely original story, but I don't know.
With the same name?
Yeah, it's called The Children, and it's about killer children, and they kill people. It feels like a better version of this movie.
Right.
Because in that movie, they don't have them drive through a cloud or something, but there is something affecting them.
Right.
Like you can tell something's in the air.
Mm.
Yeah, I kind of enjoy that a little better. I don't know what it is. You know, because these kids, it doesn't feel as bad when you kill one of them. You know what I mean?
In this movie? Or
yeah,
that one?
In this movie.
Oh.
It doesn't feel as bad. But when, like, in the other movies and stuff, when you kill a kid, it feels a little bad. Like, it feels bad.
Like they just need counseling?
Yeah, like, oh no, that kid was just crazy. I know. Should I kill him? Should I not? It really plays with your sense of fear, I think.
Oh, yeah.
You know? Well, because basically, when you have a killer kid movie, the basic premise of it works into your fear of like the perversion of innocence is basically what you're doing. Right. That's basically what this applies to. And I think they don't turn into monsters in this movie, but making them full on monsters kind of takes a little bit of that away.
Right.
Makes them less scary, I think.
Yeah, it's a little silly. Anyway, so the doctor thinks that she hears the boy that she takes care of. I don't fucking know. I put the mom when I did my notes, and I was like, that's not the mom. It
seems just like a random person.
It's just...
I'm not going to lie. There's got to be a deleted scene. Because it doesn't... We don't get a lot of explanation of who this is. This is just dead meat Sally or something. I don't know.
Yes. I don't know. But anyway...
We needed more of a body count was what this was.
Yes. So she goes looking for the kid because she hears him. And she goes into the cemetery. Then she falls over the dead bus driver, and he looks like he's been burned to death.
Looks like it.
He has been burned to death. I don't know.
The practical effects
know.
in this movie, you guys, are not great. They're not great. Like, you can see where they've drawn on like the plastic appliances or something with marker. It's not good. Like the burned effects, because what it's supposed to be is it's supposed to be you're getting microwaved by these kids and it's boiling your skin and making you into a crispy critter is basically what you're going with. But this, it looks like they've taken like toilet paper and soaked it in red and put it all over them.
Yes.
It's hilarious.
So, the kid shows up and she hugs him because she's like, "Oh, you're safe, blah, blah, blah." But then she gets microwaved.
I love, my favorite thing when the microwave stuff happens is when the smoke comes from underneath.
Yeah.
That's my favorite fucking part. Well, because like this movie, there are parts, I'll point it out as we go. There are parts that I find very creepy. But it's not because of what's happening. It's because of how it's shot.
Right.
Like, that's what I mean by like, this was shot very well. But a producer and writer of the film, Carlton J. Albright, had for this cemetery, he had to strike a deal with the owner of it to like be able to film there. And they had to donate to the caretaker's favorite charity to get to be able to use this.
And they use it for 4 seconds?
Yeah. And that's what I mean. Like, did it necessarily have to be a cemetery?
You could have made your own.
No, I was like, did it have to be a cemetery, though?
That's what I'm saying. It's like you could have made your own little...
It could have been the side of the road.
Right.
Like, it didn't have to be a cemetery.
No.
But I got to say, I think it's just a cemetery because someone watched Night of the Living Dead.
They're like, we gotta have a cemetery.
I swear that's what it is, because they wanted their own Night of the Living Dead shot. Because the way it's shot does kind of look like Night of the Living Dead style. Like you see things in the background and the foreground and stuff, how it's laid out.
Yeah.
But there is speaking of shots and stuff, there is a lot of great shots in this movie. And for a film that cost around $400,000 to make, yeah, it cost.
What?
Yeah.
What?
This is one of those movies where that is quite low budget. You know, that's pretty low budget. But at the same time, you're kind of like, somebody was embezzling, right? Maybe Harry Manfredini was more expensive. Maybe that's where the money went.
Maybe the cemetery.
Maybe the cemetery. I don't know. But $400,000, and that's estimated. Like, I can't find a lock on exactly how much this cost.
But it's way more than I expected. I was thinking like 40,000.
Way more. I'm working on a $7,000 movie, and that's probably going to look better than this.
But I hope so.
Right? Brittany's like, okay, I've seen a lot of shitty movies. I'm going to be judging your work, sir.
I am. I'm going to watch it and be like, no, we got to reshoot
this. We got to reshoot this.
That looks like shit.
But I think what gives it a good gravitas is that the cinematographer gave a shit.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the cinematographer, who was Barry Abrams. Now, he would go on to do the cinematography in Friday the 13th again, you know. And we talked, I think, on the past Friday the 13th episode, which was years ago.
Yeah.
We talked about how I love how it's shot. The cinematography on that movie is amazing.
Yeah.
And it's the same here. I think that's the biggest takeaway for me is this movie looks good. Like, it's shot well. There are creepy shots that they lay out and make look good and stuff like that. And that's what I mean by like, I swear this was just like, hey, let's make a fucking reel, like, so we can show and get into other movies. Because you watch this thing and you're like, you know what? If I had this crew, I could make a really good movie.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. It's like when you go into it's like an internship.
Yeah, it feels like that.
Yeah.
It definitely feels like that. Like I said, even the Harry Manfredini score, which he's scoring the shit out of this movie, by the way. It just feels like everything's elevated by the cinematography and the score. Like, it feels like those are the two main sources of elevation you have here. Without those, this movie would have been trash.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
I mean, it's pretty trash. It's pretty trash.
I don't know. Like I said, we'll discuss more and more as we go, but I don't know. I can't tell you why I like this other than the cinematography and the score. Like, I find a joy in this movie that I don't know why, because it's weird. I think that's why I like it. It's just so weird. They make choices in this movie that I necessarily would not make. Who came up with some of this?
I don't know. I have no idea. Anyway, so Sheriff Billy goes to town.
Sheriff Billy.
And he goes to this little shop where the bus driver's wife works. And he's getting recruits for the roadblock. Apparently, there's only him and the deputy on the police force.
Again.
Of this town of like 50 people,
there's
maybe.
No other cops besides this guy and the deputy. Deputy Harry, I think.
Yeah.
Another thing that I noticed with this movie, this I think this is only my third time watching it, but like another thing I noticed is like we don't get a real lockdown for where this takes place. The best I can do is Midwest.
Yeah.
But it was shot in Massachusetts. So like it doesn't feel like Massachusetts.
No.
And it feels like they might be trying to go southern.
It feels like Yale, Oklahoma.
It does.
You know what Yale, Oklahoma
You're totally
is.
right. It does feel like just boring ass Midwest.
Yeah. Middle of nowhere fucking.
Which that's what I mean by like, to make this look good, they really had to work. The cinematographer really had to work his ass off on this movie. Because this is boring. The colors are faded. And it could be, I mean, no, this is the newly remastered version for Blu-ray is what we watched.
Oh, okay.
But like
Anyway, so Billy tells these two townsfolk that he's going to pay them, the sheriff's department or whatever is going to pay them $20 a day to do this roadblock, and they're like, "Oh fuck yeah, we're going."
That'd be all right. In 1980 money, that'd be all right.
Right. So then, John, he's one of the parents of one of the kids that was riding the bus. Mm-hmm. He's there at this little shop, and Billy's talking to him and kind of tells him what's going on.
Right.
And then Billy decides that he's going to go tell all the parents or try to find the kids to see like which kids are missing and which kids aren't.
Yeah, I will say the story is competent. Like I feel like I'm trashing this a little bit, but the story, there's no plot holes, I would say, besides just like who the fuck are these people? Like,
right?
Because you get some characters here that do not feel like parents. They don't feel like they belong in the Midwest. Like,
we're about to get to that. Because
we're about to get to it.
So, John does say that his daughter Jennifer went to school and his son stayed home sick. So we know that kid's homesick. Jennifer's missing. Yeah. Then Billy goes to a couple's house, and this couple is a little ridiculous. Okay, I don't know if this is the dad or the boyfriend to the mom. I don't know.
You don't get a real good lock on who anybody is, like I said.
But he is a musclehead, and he's just standing there in his Speedo, just fucking exercising.
How do we know he's a musclehead? He's because we see him. This is fucking Mr. Olympian off to the side of the shot.
And he's just lifting weights the whole time. But then we see the mom, and she's topless sunbathing.
It is. I swear it's only here so we can get some boobs.
Oh yeah, but barely.
This is definitely one of those things where it's like, hey, we forgot to add boobs to the script. I don't know. Have her sunbathing,
right? But neither of them know anything about their kid because she was like,
the parents in this movie are awful.
Yeah, she was like, I don't know if she's home. I haven't seen her or whatever. And Billy said something about, did she go to school? And she was like, I don't know. I was asleep.
Fucking no.
What?
The funny part is you don't like a lot of these characters. There's like a good 3 characters that I actually enjoy. Yes. And they end up being like the last 3 for a little while. And the only good person that you really enjoy is Billy. Like
I liked John.
John's good. I think John's the other one. And is it Molly that works at the
shop?
Yeah, the shop. Yeah, she's cool. But this giant meathead in this scene was played by John P. Cadilia, and he was a bodybuilder.
Oh, I told you.
Yeah, he was a bodybuilder and police officer that Max Kalmanowicz, he knew from the gym they both went to while he was filming this movie.
He's like, you want to be in a movie?
Which boggles my mind because this guy is not in it for long. He's just in it for the scene. And I was like, what? Did you have the hots for this dude? Like, it's okay. It's okay.
Just admit it.
I just imagine being at the gym. How do I make it to where I got to look at this guy for a while?
And make it not creepy.
Hey, man, you want to be in a movie? Oh, but Sheriff Billy Hart is played by Gil Rogers, and I feel like he totally holds this entire fucking movie together.
Yeah,
this guy is good. Like, the actor is very good in this role. Gil, he'd actually go on to play the part of a little bit part in Eddie Macon's Run, which is a not often talked about Kirk Douglas movie, which stars John Schneider from Dukes of Hazzard. I think the direction they chose for this character also helps because, like I said, it's hard to get a beat on where this takes place or anything, but it feels like the sheriff could have went bumbling dipshit.
Oh, yeah.
And they don't take him there, which
it's nice.
It makes it a lot better.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, Gil holds this fucking thing together. And his sheriff being like this, this kind of more sympathetic and concerned individual and stuff like that makes it a lot better to watch him.
Oh, yeah.
And it makes for when when we get to the part where he dies, when we get to that part, it makes it hit a little bit more.
Right.
Because you don't expect that at the end of this
because
movie.
He's the only one that cares, really.
Yeah,
right now.
You don't expect it when it happens. And I think that's definitely the way to go, because if this was just fucking, I don't know, Sheriff Buford or something like that. Kid microwaving folk, chewing and eating Diablo sandwiches and stuff. It just wouldn't work.
Billy's driving down the road now, and he runs into John, who is having car issues.
Yeah.
And the car breaks down on the side of the road. Then we see that there's a little girl walking down the road, and she hides in the woods when the cars come up to her.
Yeah.
Or they don't see her or whatever. But she's watching Billy goes to help John. Mm. And then she goes home and she's like, Mommy. And she kills her mom. And then she sees her dad, and the dad sees that the mom is dead, and he still hugs his child. What the fuck?
Nobody is making sensible moves in this movie besides Harry and John. Like, nobody makes a sensible move in this fucking movie. Like, even later with Molly, who I mentioned was another character that I actually enjoyed. Like, she makes the stupidest move ever.
Oh my God, yes.
And that's like near the end of the movie when we know what's been happening. Everybody knows what's going on.
She's like,
the children are here.
Oh God.
But I'm sorry, you guys. Maybe I'm a cold son of a bitch, but if I find out children have been murdering people, I'm offing a child.
Even your own?
Well, if they turn into atomic monsters, it's best to off them. Save the world.
One child at a time.
One child at a time.
One atomic child at a time.
Man, that's why there's another movie that's under the Troma banner called Children at Play.
Yeah.
And that movie concludes with a mass murder of children.
Nice.
Like the townsfolk are stabbing them with pitchforks and blowing them away with shotguns. It is the most hilarious ending you've ever seen.
Why didn't we watch that one?
Because I'm saving it.
Okay.
I wanted to do this movie.
Okay.
You can kind of tell that this movie is trying at parts. Like I said, it feels like an amalgamation of a lot of different horror movies. Like, it feels like they're definitely trying to be children of the Village of the Damned in some parts.
Oh yeah.
Especially near the end when Molly gets offed. Like, that shot it looked like it's directly stolen from Village of the Damned.
So Harry and the townspeople that are they're at the roadblock.
Yeah.
When a man pulls up and says that he's allowed to be there in the town, and he uses his car phone. The only reason why I mentioned this is because we never see this guy again, but he uses his car phone, and I was like, A car phone. Did they have those in the 80s? I guess they did.
Yeah, car phones were big in the 80s and 90s, man. I remember my uncle had a car phone, and I thought it was like the epitome of wealth.
Right.
Like, you can call make phone calls in your car.
For your car?
I thought that was the coolest fucking thing ever.
And
if you notice in a lot of these older movies, like to show that someone's rich, they always have a car phone. Like,
oh yeah.
They always have a car phone.
So Harry lets them go in after he calls his friend Dee Dee, and she says that he's allowed to be there, whatever.
Yeah.
So while they're driving down the road, they see Harry's girlfriend riding her bike, and they go around her.
And this guy never comes back.
No.
Like, there's never anything to this character. We just saw make a phone call, trying to get to the town. I'm assuming maybe he works for the power plant.
Maybe.
Like, that's kind of what you get. But he also looks like he's going to a porn shoot.
Yeah.
Yeah, this guy is straight about to bone someone. And this guy is played by Martin Brennan, who really wasn't an actor. This is his only credit. And the only reason I feel like he's here is because he was a cocaine dealer and he was dealing cocaine to the cast and crew.
He's like, put me in your movie.
Yeah. All right, I tell you what, I'll bring coke, but I get a part.
Right.
So that tells you something about this movie, is that it was fueled by cocaine and apparently alcoholism, from what I hear.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, it sounds about right.
So Harry's girlfriend, I didn't catch her name. I don't fucking care. She goes to this house to deliver.
Brittany's like, I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck.
I do not.
It's so funny to listen to episodes like this and then go back and listen to episodes like our Quentin Tarantino ones where Brittany's really getting into film and really getting into it. And then she's like, I don't fucking know. This character's going here to get microwaved by a child. I don't, what do you want from me?
What do you want?
What do you want from me here?
Anyway, she goes to this house to deliver some apples, but no one's home. So then she goes home and her little brother is there and he kills her.
Yeah.
And then the dad comes home and we hear screaming. So he killed the dad too. Did they yell?
Why did we cut away? Like, why was there a cutaway? There's a lot. This one doesn't make a lot of sense, the cutaway. And then there's at an end where we have a cutaway and some B-roll that makes no sense.
None of this makes sense.
But again, it's shot really well, so I'm going along with it.
Why do we need to see her walking through this person's house and then she drops the apples and then she just goes home? Why couldn't she have just gone home?
I'm telling you, cinematography, be real.
Why couldn't she have just gone home?
This is Barry Abrams' reel to show to everybody. Because literally, like, you watch this movie, you're like, wow, this is trash. But whoever shot this is really good.
She's really great.
But, all the children in this movie were non-actors. Two of them were the producer's son and daughter, in fact. But guess what? We don't have any annoying shit-heel kid acting in this movie, which is damn shocking. That's always a risk when you get into one of these killer kid movies or a horror movie with a kid in general. The kid actors might be the worst fucking part. I don't know. Have you seen any movies like that? House by the Cemetery, I think, is one where like Bob in that movie is fucking notoriously annoying. Man, a child actor can make or break your movie.
The only thing I can think of is Pet Sematary.
Oh, yeah.
Because I didn't like any of those kids.
That wasn't bad acting.
They weren't bad acting.
The girl in that movie is too much. And we're talking about the classic. Pet Cemetery. The girl is the shithill kid in that movie. She's annoying. You pray for the moment that she gets shipped off to her grandparents, and then you have the whole movie with everybody else. Like that's a relief. But like, man, bad kid acting. That is a plague in horror movies.
I think in all movies.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, I will tell you right now, this is going to cause some rifts, but I think Macaulay Culkin was a terrible child actor.
Okay, I don't know.
You watch My Girl, right? You watch My Girl. The girl in that movie is acting circles around Macaulay Culkin.
Yeah, for sure.
He's terrible in that movie.
For sure.
The only thing he does well is die.
His glasses. And he can't see without his glasses. That's so sad. I cried
every
time.
The only thing more unbelievable in that movie besides Macaulay Culkin's acting is that Dan Aykroyd got with Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yes, that's what I was going to say.
That's the most unrealistic part about that movie.
Oh, that's so funny.
Oh, man.
He's a nice guy, okay?
Dan Aykroyd?
Yeah.
I think that's why it's believable in the movies he does, because he's gotten with Jamie Lee Curtis twice in the movies.
Oh, damn.
Twice.
They be fucking.
Yeah. He was in Trading Spaces, I believe, is the one where he gets with her too. And I think she's a prostitute in that movie. But he gets with her in that movie too. They fall in love. It's just, it's got to be because Dan Aykroyd's funny.
Yeah. The funny guy.
It is.
If you want to know how to get women, be the funny guy.
And I don't know, man. You look at old time Dan Aykroyd. He wasn't that bad looking. He was an attractive Canadian.
Oh, he's Canadian?
Oh yeah, very Canadian.
Oh, okay. That makes kind of sense.
All those guys back in the day were.
That kind of makes sense. So the sheriff drops off John at his house.
Yeah.
And he goes inside to try to find his wife, but finds his kid who says mommy's mad at him. I guess because he wasn't home. I don't fucking know. Well, she's asleep in the other room and she is very, very pregnant.
Yes. She goes through periods of different stomach sizes throughout this movie.
Yes, because at first I did not realize that she was pregnant.
Yeah, but yes, rest assured she is pregnant.
That baby grows very fast in the next couple hours.
One might say fake.
Maybe
that explains the cutaway that we'll come to get to later. But no, they do kind of do a fake out here where that kid goes and hugs him, and you think, oh God, don't hug him.
But then you remember that he said that kid stayed home.
Yeah.
So she says that she saw the bus on her way home from wherever and that there were kids on it. So she didn't think anything about it.
Yeah.
She done been sleeping.
She pregnant.
I understand. Okay, so Deputy Harry gets a call from someone in town because Billy's distracted or whatever. Harry gets a call from Molly in town. That's right. That's her name. And she says that he needs to go check out someone's house because she had gotten a call, then the line went dead. So while he's driving down the road to go to this house, he sees 3 children and he gets out and he calls on the radio and he said, "Hey, I found the children." And he goes out to talk to them and they all want to hug him.
I feel like definitely having like kids be like the murderer and stuff in this movie, and that whole thing where you don't expect kids to murder you.
Yeah.
I think that's definitely a cheap plot point to like make it easier to kill off your people without them knowing what's going on.
Oh yeah, because he didn't know.
Yeah.
He goes radio silent. And so Molly calls for the sheriff and she says that Harry found the kids when he was on the way to this house or whatever. So Billy and John go to find Harry.
Yeah.
God, it's kind of confusing.
Well, everybody has such a milquetoast name that they start running together.
I just don't understand why Molly would need to call Billy to tell him that Harry found the kids.
You're like, wait, is she the dispatcher for the police? Like,
maybe
what is
she
happening?
is.
Like,
yeah, I don't know.
Where is the police station? Right. Where is that at? Where's that located?
Maybe she is the dispatcher because she has that thing.
Yeah, she has a CB,
and she was calling for her husband.
But it looks like, does she work at a gas station though?
I think it's a
does the gas station
convenience
act
store
as the fucking
there's only
station?
like 6 people that live
and there's only 3 buildings.
There's maybe like
movie.
20 people that live in this town.
I know.
And that's not even counting the kids.
That's what I was saying. They had to do that whole roadblock thing because making a roadblock, it doesn't make a lot of sense because it's like, what are you dealing with? Kids that got off a bus and are walking around. So like, there's no big reason to have a roadblock other than we got to figure out a way to make this believable because we have nobody in this town.
Oh yeah, nobody.
And you never get a real lock of what this town is like if it's an actual town, like, because it doesn't feel that
it's
way.
Obviously a cemetery.
It feels like a strip of road.
That's probably what it is. That's why I said Yale, Oklahoma.
You're right. What am I talking about? We live in the state of strip road towns where it's just like you drive through it in 1 second. It's like 2 blocks.
It's true.
Like this didn't need to be a town.
Why was there a bus? Like the kids could have walked to school. Right. Where's the school?
Where's the fucking hospital? At the end of this movie, it feels like the apocalypse has happened. I don't know why because she has the baby and they have to deliver it at home. But I was like, you can't drive to the hospital?
Maybe it's in another town.
I guess.
Yale doesn't have a hospital. You got to go to Stillwater.
God, that sucks.
Yeah. And Stillwater's 30 minutes away.
Oh, yeah, you're right. You're right. Oklahoma's so badass. So this character, Molly, she's played by Shannon Bolan, who this was her last film. She didn't die till like 2016, though, I believe. But I only mention this because you guys should check out Damn Yankees from 1958, a movie she's in. It's pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know. I like Molly. Again, the 3 characters that you really stick with. Like,
I guess so, yeah. I mean, they're not bad. Molly's not bad, I guess I should say. Anyway.
It just doesn't make sense.
None of this movie makes sense. None of this movie makes sense, okay? They fill the time with walking around a lot, but they can't fill the time with explaining anything.
You know what this needed, though?
A narrator.
Maybe. No, because you know what you would have gotten. You would have got like fucking a narrator that sounded like the "Where's the Beef" commercial or something. You know the beef. It's what's for dinner. Like that. You would have gotten that guy. Like,
okay.
The town, and then the children came up missing. Something like that. You know. When's the last time you killed a child, buddy? It's been too long. You know. But what this movie really needed was a drunk character. We have no drunks. That's unbelievable.
Well, like the children are drunk with power.
No, man, you need like a Bruce Glover running around here. Just, hey, man, I need a snip of my whipple. Like, you know, you need some fucking drunk hobo running around. I needed that. Like a Yet Doomed or something like that. You needed one of those guys.
Don't hug the children.
Don't hug them. They're evil.
They'll pay.
Get out of here, drunk Billy or something. Like,
we already have a Billy.
See, this movie is so full of characters with like normal names that I can't even come up with a fake character.
Anyway, when Billy and John go down the road, they find Harry's car. They get out to check things out, and Billy finds Harry dead. So then they drive to the house that Harry's supposed to be going to, because the kids are supposedly at that house. And they find the woman, they're dead. This is the woman with the, I don't know, psychotic break or something. I don't fucking know.
Again, not a character. So it's not really, a character. Doesn't fucking matter.
And they try to use the phone, but of course the phone line is out. Because, you know, zombie children cut phone lines all the time. Okay. Maybe they burned it to death. I don't know.
You know what also this movie needed? A government cover-up. Some kind of government conspiracy going on as well. Because it felt like that's what was going to happen with the guy who was trying to get into town.
Oh,
you know, everyone's coke dealer earlier.
Yeah.
Like, it felt like that's where it was going to go. So when you watch this, you're thinking, oh, this guy's going to come back in a bad way. I bet he's a part of the government or something. They're coming to cover up the nuclear meltdown that happened or whatever had happened at the beginning. Somebody left the fucking faucet on at the fucking nuclear power plant or something.
They didn't tighten that nut enough.
But that never fucking comes back. Like, that never comes back. No one ever mentions the nuclear power plant.
No.
Like, no one's ever like, you know what? That may have been the cause, or points at a big nuclear power plant or something. No, nothing like that ever comes to fruition.
Nothing at all.
And I will give it to the movie. I think it's kind of slow and creepy is what it's going for. There's not a lot of jump out scare moments or anything like that.
No.
Like I said, it's going for slow and creepy. I think this movie has a specific charm that I'm enjoying now that I think about it. It really does. And plus the runtime's pretty fucking breezy. You're in and out. But Brittany didn't feel that way. But the movie never picks up pace past this point.
No.
It does not pick up pace. There's parts, what's kind of frustrating about it, there are parts that like feel like you're about to get some tense moments, but they're just dropped out from underneath you in 2 seconds.
Yeah. You're like, there's no missing plot holes or anything. The whole thing is missing.
You were looking really bored. in this movie. We'll get to your final thoughts at the end here, but I think everybody's understanding what's going on. To me, this movie, though, what I think the charm that I like of it does feel like those classic sci-fi flicks. Instead of a slasher, which was predominant what you had in the 90s. I mean, you can tell this kind of goes for that slasher mentality every now and then, but like for the most part, it feels like a classic sci-fi movie, or whatever you want to call it. Like, what it's missing though is exposition. There is no moment, which, like I've said in the past, I like those moments. It's like a love and hate moment where you have the movie stop dead for somebody in authority to explain what's going on.
Right.
Like you don't have that here.
No, you have a bunch of. Never mind. I'm not going to say that. Is that racist? Never mind.
What the hell were you about to say?
Okay, how about I
Brittany
put it?
Was about to say something extremely racist.
Kind of.
Why?
I don't know if it's racist or not. I'll just say it this way: we have a bunch of sous chefs, but no chef.
That's not racist at all. What are you talking about?
That's not. I'm not going to say the racist.
Too many
thing.
cooks is what you got going
Too
on.
many cooks and not enough chef. Okay.
Yeah, we're spoiling the broth. That's not racist at all. We're just talking
it's not.
cooking terms.
I know it's not.
Okay.
I didn't say the racist.
Oh, you're about to. Oh, yeah, you can't say that.
That's what I'm saying. Can I say that?
No,
I can't
you
say
cannot.
that. So I didn't.
No. But to me, like, if this movie had that moment, I think it would feel better.
Yeah.
Because for the most part, like I said, somebody watched Night of the Living Dead and got real like a big boner for it. Because you can tell that's what they're trying to do. Because Night of the Living Dead does this, where it makes everything ambiguous. You don't know what caused the zombies. You're just here and you're dealing with them. That's not how this should work.
That's not what's happening.
Because what you've made here, and be it on purpose or by accident, what you've made is a fucking sci-fi monster movie.
Right.
You've made killer kids. That's the monsters in this movie. They're atomic monsters. It works. It works, but you don't have the moment where somebody of authority is coming in. There's no government. Like I said, if this had like the government conspiracy angle to it as well, like they're trying to cover it up, so we're going to bomb the town. Let's get out of here or something. Right. You know, if you had something like that, you could bite into it. But this is definitely trying to pull Night of the Living Dead. And I'm talking to the 60s George A. Romero one. They're definitely trying to pull that where it's way ambiguous. And I think they're hoping it says something. It's like Night of the Living Dead succeeded because it didn't explain the zombies.
Right.
It wasn't the same.
It's not the same.
No, you need I think if this movie did have like somebody stop the movie dead and explain to you, like, this is what's going on. This is what's happening, because they even figure out a way to kill these things.
Right.
But it's not really explained why. Right. Like, and I get it. You don't necessarily need a reason. But another thing we haven't really talked about that I think we talk about as we go, but like the children, the way you can really tell besides creepy hug me kind of thing is that their fingernails are black.
Yes. All of their fingernails.
Like they go goth.
Yeah. They had time. Yes, they had lots of time. All of this shit is happening behind the scenes. Not behind the scenes, but all the people
cocaine.
Are driving around and the kids are painting their fingernails in the cemetery.
I want to blame cocaine, but like we've seen what happens when cocaine has fueled a movie. We watched Maximum Overdrive. we saw that. That was definitely a cocaine movie. Like, it should be more exciting than this for cocaine. So I'm like, if everybody was on cocaine, what was everybody doing on this movie?
Sleeping.
You know who was taking cocaine? Harry Manfredini and Barry Abrams, who did the cinematography, because that's the two best parts.
Oh my god. Anyway, I'm ready to get this over with.
Brittany is done with this movie already. I love this. Yeah, I talked about it. I'm sure I mentioned this so many times, but I love it when you don't like a movie. It's so much fun. It's so much fun.
I feel so mean, though.
This is how everybody should be when they talk about movies. Like, I love this movie. You hate it. I mean, we're not to your final thoughts, but come on.
It's a little obvious.
Yeah. This is how everybody should have a movie conversation with it. We're not trying to convince each other because that's never going to fucking happen. We're just having fun. Like, why can't the world be more like that? I hate this. Why does Twitter exist? Can we just get rid of all social media and go back to the way it was?
In this little town where atomic things are happening?
No. Just the way it was before the social media times when I'd watch a movie. Like, there's so many movies that I loved and stuff that I get online and like, wow, the majority of everyone hates that movie. That's really surprising because I thought this movie was like huge.
You're like, this was cold. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. God. Anyway.
So Billy goes to town to talk to Molly and get some guns from her shop. Billy and John go back driving down the road and run into one of the kids from the bus. And she isn't saying anything. She's just kind of like in shock is what they said.
Yeah.
So they go to take her home, but nobody's there. And this is the home with the bodybuilder and the naked mom. Yeah.
The bodybuilder
and the naked mom.
The bodybuilder is there for like 2 seconds.
But John finds him dead, the bodybuilder guy dead in the pool. And then the girl tries to attack Billy in the car.
Yeah.
But he gets away and she just walks off. She doesn't get him. I don't know. She just is gone and they drive away. What? Okay.
I'm so sorry. Again, wouldn't it be lovely if a scientist just rolled into town and was like, hey, this is what's going on?
Don't hug the children.
I'm sorry, you guys. This is funny. Why didn't they just make the kids zombies? They could have went that direction. It would have been just fine.
Right. I don't understand any of this.
Anyway.
Molly calls for the sheriff and then she sees the kids outside of the store. So she goes to let them inside.
She is like, the children. And this is the creepiest shot of the movie because they're out there, they're underlit and stuff like that. And they're holding out their arms.
Yeah.
And it's the creepiest fucking thing because this is at night. And they're just fucking scary. And I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Molly. I love kids too, but Jesus Christ. like if I'm sitting in my store and I look out the window and they're like, hugs. It's like, nope.
You're going to have to go.
Thank you. I'm going to keep this door locked. You guys stay right there.
Let me call your parents. So she goes to let them inside and they kill her. And the guys can hear this over the radio.
Yeah.
So they go to John's house.
Which again, why didn't we just show it?
I don't know.
Did we run out of Play-Doh to coat these people with?
I don't know.
I think that's another frustrating part. Like I said, I love this movie, but the other frustrating part is we don't get a lot of gore.
Right.
Which, you know, and I hear you, but I'm not counting when they go crispy as gore because it just does not look like gore. Like I said, it looks like somebody got some modeling clay. It's not good.
No.
I think it would have been much better if like some heads were popping and shit like that.
Oh, yeah. We need to go to head popping too.
Oh, yeah. Why didn't that happen? You're having people get microwaved? Why didn't their heads explode?
That'd be cool.
This movie would have rocked ass if they hugging it and just fucking your head blows up.
That'd be cool.
Oh, I'm remaking the children.
Anyway, so they go to John's house to make sure that everything is okay there. And they turn on the news and they say that this is happening everywhere. There's no explanation except for Billy says, oh, this is happening all over the place.
They needed to cut this. They needed to cut this because this cannot be a fucking apocalyptic scenario.
How is it when the chemical plant's right there? Like,
yeah, this is not makes any sense.
No.
It's just like they're like, well, we've gone too far. We got to make it make sense.
It still doesn't.
Well, it's happening everywhere. It's like, no.
Still doesn't make sense.
No, because again, that's not the local news they're watching. Like if it was the local news, maybe. But then again, where's the news station in this fucking thing?
Right.
Like, it's just, this needed to be dropped. We don't need this. Because again, like, it just doesn't feel like that's what this is.
Right. So then the mom, Kathy, she sees her daughter, Jennifer, And she's going to hug her, but John and Billy stop her. They're like, wait a second.
Yeah. Don't hug
Why
that
were they
child.
not explaining this before when they were just sitting there watching TV? Why didn't they
How
explain
did they
that to
put
her?
it together? That's the problem.
Because
I understand. Well, yeah, she tried to attack Billy, but she didn't. They never seen anybody get hugged.
That's true.
So why did they automatically assume it was the hug?
I don't know. I don't. This scene.
Did the news say something about a hug?
No.
See, this could have been the stop it dead and explain.
Yeah.
Like if you wanted to be an apocalyptic scenario, I'll go with you, but you should have had more of the news anchor being like, "Don't hug the children" or something like that. It
feels like this scene should be right after this next one I'm going to talk about.
Somebody watched Night of the Living Dead and really liked it because like this is exactly what happens in Night of the Living Dead. Remember, they get the TV to work and they're watching the news and it's telling them what's going on and what to do. Like, but they fuck it up here. This is where the cocaine really drown this fucking movie because they fuck it up. They don't have anybody explain what's going on. They're just saying it's happening everywhere.
Okay.
What? It's safe to say, though, that the same attention to shooting and acting was not paid to the special effects, like I said, which these people look like reheated pepperoni pizza.
Yes.
But bad. Like bad.
Bad.
It looks like, you remember when you were younger and somebody would dress up as a zombie for Halloween?
Yes.
That's what it looks like. It looks like one of those cheap Halloween kits you get. You put that like fucking clay shit on your face and then paint it red. Like it's not good. But I do like that shot. Like I said, again, the cinematography. So good in this movie. Where that shot where they're underlit and stuff and they're being creepy.
Yeah.
Oh, like I like that shit. That was good. Like, but and then it gets dropped.
I don't know. So Billy and John go looking for the kids when they come across Jennifer. She grabs John's hand and burns it or whatever, but he gets away. He doesn't hug her or anything like that.
Yeah.
They get away.
So it has to be a full hug is what I'm hearing.
I guess so.
God, that's dumb. I'm sorry.
So then they see Janet, the silent girl or whatever, and they go to shoot her, but she doesn't die. And then all the kids start to gather in the yard. And Billy goes to get a gun, and he's shooting them out the window so that they don't come in the house. But they're not fucking dying, so why are you fucking shooting them? Anyway.
I'll give it to the movie that we're seeing some kids get shot.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool, I guess.
They're just falling over and standing back
but
up.
They're not dying.
It looks like someone just pushes them over.
Blow one of these kids' head off.
Yeah.
That's what I need. That's what we need from this.
So this pisses Kathy off because she doesn't really understand still. So she knocks Billy out with a vase. And then John tells Kathy about their daughter burning his hand. And then upstairs, they leave the little brother alone. And he opens the window for one of his friends. By the way, how did this kid get to the second story window?
I don't know. There's no rules on these kids because now we're seeing that they're immortal.
They're immortal.
Are they vampires?
They can fly, apparently.
These atomic vampires.
But they don't bite people.
No, cocaine. Cocaine's a hell of a drug. But sorry, you guys. I think the reason why this movie's good is it's a party movie.
It's not.
You could get some drunk on. You could get your drink on and have a good time laughing at this thing. I think this is another one where a group setting.
I'm taking a nap.
Brittany's taking a nap. The noise of the kids, though, when they're not dying, I don't. Again, they're immortal apparently, but when the microwave kids like kind of die and stuff. There's this fucking sound that plays, and it's totally the worst thing you've ever heard because it's cats in heat that they've like warped, and so it's like, like, why is that the sound you chose? Right. Why is there a sound?
I know, right? Does there need to be a sound?
And what's up, man? You're making a creepy kid movie. Have them like singing songs and shit. That's creepy.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I would have had. Like these kids walking up to the house fucking singing Ring Around the Rosie. I'd blow my brains out.
By the way, sometimes these kids act like zombies when they have their hands out and they're like, Mommy. But then sometimes they're just moving normal.
That's because, like, you try to get a bunch of kids to act the same. You know, they were like, just fucking fine. Just walk. Just walk.
Just walk. But when they put the girl in the car, she doesn't act weird. She's just
There's
sitting there.
no rules with these kids. There's no rules with the microwavable children.
I get it. Oh, my gosh. Anyway, so Kathy goes to check on her son, and he's dead. And the other kid is trying to hug her, and he chases her down the stairs. And Billy shoots him, but of course he doesn't die.
This is like a weird movie rule where they keep shooting things and they don't die. It's like, stop shooting. Just, I don't know, beat it.
Punch it in the face. I don't know.
You could have taken that shotgun and beat the shit out of this kid.
And my thing is, like, if you're willing to shoot a kid, you can punch a kid in the face.
Oh, I'm collapsing this kid's head.
Yeah.
Like, the survivors around me are going to be weirded out. 'Cause I'm like, you motherfucking child, just mashing this kid's head into hamburger meat.
God. That's violent.
But I'm going to survive is what I'm getting at.
I get it.
That's terrible. Now there's going to be a creepy little kid playing a joke and I'm going to beat the shit out of him.
So this kid backs Kathy into a corner, but Billy cuts off his hands with a sword.
Where did
the sword come from?
You got to establish why there's a sword in this house.
They could have had it on the wall as a decoration.
It's not like a fucking, like, what you would think. You know, you're thinking might be the South or the Midwest or something like that. So maybe like a Confederate sword or something like that.
Right.
Or like an army sword or something. Maybe somebody was in the Navy or something and had a dress sword. No, this is a samurai sword. This motherfucker comes out of nowhere with a fucking samurai sword and cuts this kid's hands off.
They could have an establishing shot of it on the wall.
Now I'm starting to see where the cocaine came into play. It's like, whose idea?
We got a sword? We got to use that sword, man.
Dude, Barry Abrams bought a new samurai sword. It is the coolest fucking thing ever. It's got to be in the movie. Why would there be a samurai sword in this? I don't know. You want a bump? Just put it in.
That's what she said. Sorry.
Oh, God.
Sorry. Anyway, so they all sit down and try to figure out a plan, I guess. I don't know. They're all talking over each other. Billy says they need to cut off their hands, and John and Kathy are fighting if their daughter is actually alive and if they should kill her or not.
We're going to cut off their hands.
So then a girl tries to come in the window, and Billy cuts off one of her hands. And then the men, they go outside to find the children. And after what seemed like 30 minutes of them just fucking walking around, all these kids were right there, and now they're not there anymore. I don't fucking understand.
And he still got the sword.
Yes.
I'm sorry. It's fucking samurai. Not a machete. Not like a farm instrument or anything. It's a fucking samurai sword.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
This dude comes out of the fucking nowhere with the sword from 47 Ronin and cutting off these little kids' hands.
So they finally track down the children, and John cannot get up the nerve to cut off his daughter's hands. So Billy takes the sword and fucks all these kids up.
You know, good for him.
It looks like
Billy turns into me at the end of this movie. He's like, oh, I figured out a way. We're cutting the fuck out of these kids.
Well, it looks like that's what he's doing. But later on when we see them, just their hands are cut off. I thought he chopped them into pieces. Like
I would, again, you just keep cutting. Fuck it.
Oh, yeah.
Fuck this.
Cut off their heads.
I'm cutting everything.
Gouge out their eyeballs.
This is when are you going to get a chance to use a samurai sword is what I'm saying. Like, when are you going to get this chance ever again in your life?
So the sheriff goes to the car. I don't know why. And the girl that he only cut one of her hands off attacks him.
Why does it got to be both?
Why does it got to be both what?
Well, why
both
is it
hands?
the hands?
That's what gives him the power? I don't know.
The goth fingernails. It's scary. Ooh.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh, these creepy goth kids. They're turning goth.
Satanic panic.
They should have had it like over time. Like the fucking, it spreads and it just looks like a Hot Topic commercial outside.
thought you meant their hands are going to be black, but you meant
like, oh my God, that kid's wearing a pentagram necklace. Get her.
Cut her hat off. Anyway, so she attacks Billy and kills him. And then John comes up and he fucks her up with the sword.
Yeah.
Which really means he cut her hand off.
Which like I said, Billy is the best character in this entire movie. And when he dies, it is kind of like a shock. You're like, whoa, okay.
They killed off our main character.
Oh, we finally have stakes in this movie.
The kids are dead with their hands cut off. Anyway. And fucking... So John kills this kid or whatever, everybody's dead, and he just fucking falls asleep with Billy's head in his lap.
I'm not exactly sure, because John is very heartbroken because Billy's dead, but we never got an establishment on like what the relationship between these characters were or anything. I'm not quite sure why he falls asleep with Billy in his arms.
I don't know. But the next morning...
Besides, oh man, the best character's dead.
Right? But the next morning, he wakes up to Kathy yelling. So he runs inside to find her, and she's in the bathroom floor, and she's in labor. Because she went from 0 months to 9 months pregnant in 4 seconds.
So that tells me that he fell asleep outside the house?
Yeah.
Why did he leave his pregnant wife alone and fall asleep with Billy? Were they fucking? Was Billy and John fucking?
I don't know.
You could have put a lot of cool layers in this movie. Have Billy and John having like a fucking Brokeback Mountain relationship and all sorts of stuff. You could have had a lot of subplots in this that they just dropped.
All of them. Anyway, so she's going to have the baby at home. And then we get the shot, this long shot of all of the kids that are dead. And in the background, we hear Kathy giving birth.
Are they trying to say something with these shots? Because again, Barry Abrams is fucking shooting the shit out of this movie. And so you're getting all this B-roll of dead kids and stuff and deaths. And then it starts showing the sun coming up and like nice shots of trees and growth and stuff like that. Or what are we doing?
I have no idea.
Why aren't we just with them? Because the whole time you're seeing all this B-roll, you're just hearing, it's coming. Oh. And it is awkwardly long.
It's so awkward.
It is awkwardly stretched out.
And there's hands everywhere.
There is.
So many hands. So then after the baby is born, she's feeding it with her breasts because she's breastfeeding. And John looks over and he notices that the baby has black fingernails like the other kids.
It zooms in and it's like on this little baby that they took and painted its nails black. It is the funniest thing I've ever seen.
And then the movie's over.
That's it. That's the fucking movie.
Could have been a 30-minute episode of
You know what? You're totally right.
I know.
You're totally right. This would have worked so much better as a 30-minute short.
Yeah.
But anyway, the children received a limited release theatrically here in the States, unsurprisingly, opening first in Tucson, Arizona, and then having its premiere at Los Angeles in September of 1980. Unsurprisingly, again, there were a lot of negative reviews. But like a few movies we've discussed on this show, this film was tailor-made for the drive-in. In fact, the opening weekend in Tucson, a drive-in there had a 6-mile backup line for people trying to get in to see this.
Oh my God. I would have shot myself right there. I would have found my samurai sword and just cut my head off right there.
I feel like though, it's a great drive-in movie. Like it is great for the drive-in and it made money. This made money. The children made money against its estimated $400,000. Like I said, that's the best I could come up with, you guys, because I think Albright says it in a commentary. But it raked in about $7 million. Wow. Again, follow your dreams. I'd say, though, I think what really made this movie its money is the drive-in. Like, we've talked about a few films like this where, like, this movie shouldn't have made this much money, but the drive-ins helped that. You know, that's the importance of a drive-in movie. There's something about putting a movie like this on a drive-in screen and you have the communal feeling of the drive-in. Something about it makes a movie like this shine. And that's why I said I like it, because it does have that drive-in movie mentality. But to me, though, it could have been a lot more exploitive. Like, you could have had more gore in this movie and made it more of a blood and guts affair, you know. But the best I could come up with is this came out around the same year as Friday the 13th. And we know by our conversation on Friday the 13th that the MPAA was not happy with horror movies around that time. And they were cutting the shit out of it. You know, to the point where we didn't get an uncut version of Friday the 13th until fucking 2 years ago.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. 4 years ago, we got the uncut version of Friday the 13th because the MPAA was having a field day. So I assume the gore is toned down in this movie on purpose to get past that. That's the only thing I can come up with. Like, I think this movie, though, it's begging for a remake. You could remake this now and make a good time. Like, you really could. But, Brittany's fucking just yawned. But it did find its following on a video, like most movies we feature here. And it now has a kind of I won't say a huge cult following, but there are people that like this movie. Like me.
I'm sorry.
Still, I think it's the fact that it isn't a slasher from the 80s is the reason it's less talked about. Because, you know, everybody talks about the slashers from the 80s. But there were a lot of weird fucking movies like this that existed in the 80s. And I think those are better. I actually like the weird, not specifically this one, but I think I enjoy the weird fucking movies from the 80s. You know, you go look at a Stuart Gordon movie or something like that. And just that weird fucking thing with the slasher sensibility still ingrained in it.
Oh, yeah.
You know, but also this one largely, like I said, has that 50s sci-fi influence built all over it. And I think, because of all those things that I just said, I think that's why I like it. I can't say it's completely good, but right. I'm not going to say it's completely bad. It's not boring to me, I think, is where it goes, which is surprising to you, apparently. But I actually dig the atmosphere. And again, the score from Harry Manfredini is totally doing a lot of the legwork, along with the cinematography of Barry Abrams. Barry Abrams passed away in 2016, by the way. Sadly. But the best thing about this movie is that it's fucking weird. In the parts when it goes really fucking weird are the parts where it excels at. Just like, why is there a fucking bodybuilder in the middle of the fucking, what is that there? Why is there a fucking samurai sword at the end of this movie? Just that kind of shit, that goofy fucking weird shit is what I love. I love that shit that makes no sense to anyone else but me. But anyway, enough about me. What did you think? I don't even feel like I gotta ask this. But what did you think about 1980s The Children?
Hot fucking garbage.
And that's why I enjoy it.
Hot garbage. It was boring.
See, that's so where boring. I gotta say I understand. I understand why you don't like it, because if it's boring to you, that's a bad movie.
Yes.
You know, it's all subjective.
I would rather
Mad Men or The Children.
God fucking damn it.
Yeah, I'm going to give you 3 movies that you have classically hated on this show. This one is a new classic for you.
Yeah.
So The Children, The Thing, or Madman. Which of those three? Which of those 3 are the ones you like the best?
I fucking hate you.
I was taking a drink. I about spewed water everywhere.
I guess I would watch The Thing again.
Yeah?
I need to give that one a second.
Well, at least with that, even though you didn't really care for it at the time. And this was years ago when we watched The Thing. We do have to do a reevaluation.
Yeah.
You need to reevaluate. But I will say, at least with that movie, you have Kurt Russell and Wilford Brimley.
And some good acting and some story and like things.
And it's John Carpenter. I mean, that's hard. Why? That's such a weird combo to lay out for you. Because it's
I'm going to have to say that Madman was a little bit better than this one.
Do you prefer Madman over The Children?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Maybe if we put Madman and The Children together,
that's like your saving
an
grace.
okay movie. It would be a subpar movie, okay? Because
the children are real.
Because right now we're drowning.
Oh man, you. I was wondering, what's really hilarious is I really thought this reaction you were going to have on Hell Block 13 last week.
That was a decent movie.
It's better than it needs to be.
It's better than this shit.
Hell Block 13 was way better than it deserved to be.
This could have.
This is from. Okay,
you know what?
I will
the child killings in that fucking Hell Block 13 in the 15-minute story was way better than this shit.
I will say, I think that's the frustrating part about this movie. For me, if I really have to nitpick it, the most frustrating part about this movie is it could have been way better. There are parts that could have been way better, but they didn't quite go that direction. You know what I mean? Like the fucking, if they just went gory with it. And they leaned into the stupid parts. Like they really needed to lean into this movie. Oh, because there are parts, like I said, the fucking samurai sword out of nowhere. There's so much stupid in this movie and they never lean into it. And I think like if they leaned more into it and just had a good time, I think we would have had a better time with this movie. Just to nitpick it. Again, I like this movie because it's hot garbage. I have a good time with this. It's not something I'm watching 24/7 though, but like, yeah, it's all right.
If it's on in the background, I ain't watching it. I'm taking
Brittany's
it now.
leaving the room.
I'm going to leave the state. Bye.
But anyway, that's The Children from 1980. That's Troma Month. I can't believe it's already over.
It's a wrap.
That was really fast.
And I didn't see Toxie one time.
I know. Next year though.
Okay.
Toxie's coming back because we got to watch him. Toxic Avenger. I've been missing him. Missing the Toxic Avenger, which by the way, that remake's coming.
Oh, really? Oh, that's right.
Yeah, that's coming. It looks good, like from what I've heard. So Macon Blair is doing it. Anyway, that's Troma Month for this year, man. We always have a fucking good time, Troma Month. These episodes are always loose and fun, and we have a good time. But anyway, again, got to plug it again. You can see all the movies we covered this month on Troma Now, which is the Troma app, which, Troma doesn't have a ton of money. So it's taken them a while to get this app to other things, but it's finally on Roku, which almost everybody has a Roku. Yeah. So you can watch it now on your television real easily. The app works perfectly. I think this app works a lot better than Paramount Plus.
And Discovery Plus.
And Discovery Plus.
Yeah.
Those apps suck ass. But the Troma Now app works great. And you can go to watch.troma.com. You get a week free, and that's $5.99 a month after that. It's fucking great. You know? Hey, yeah, fuck Netflix. They're this close to getting canceled. I know. That's all I'm saying. Netflix is about to go down the drain because HBO is like on top of their shit. But anyway, Troma Now. Check out the Troma app. It has all Troma's movies, and it even has bonus features, which is something I love. And I got to say, HBO is claiming that it's revolutionary that they've put bonus features on their streaming content. Troma did it first. They put the commentaries on there. You can watch behind the scenes documentaries and stuff on all their movies and stuff. It's great. So check out that app, and see you next year for Troma Month. But next week, it's Listener Request Month. And so you know what that means. I can't tell you what the movie is yet.
Oh, shit,
you'll find
you don't
out.
know.
Yeah. No, well, I do know. But
I'm just asking.
I'm not saying it yet. But again, it's not technically too late to get your requests in if you want.
Do it.
Yeah, do it. See what happens. Over on Patreon, though, go check out our Patreon feed. It's awesome. I got to plug that. We got to plug our own shit sometimes. Over on Patreon, we're doing, of course, Ash vs. Evil Dead. And also, we are doing David Lynch's Dune over there for Damn Fine Peaks. That's right. We're taking a break from Twin Peaks, and we're going to be talking about David Lynch's Dune, which I think is a good movie. I actually enjoy that movie. Maybe we'll watch it tonight.
No.
You want to watch it? Okay.
Not after this bullshit. No, we ain't doing it.
But
I
anyway,
want to have a good night. Thank you.
But anyway, until next week, when you, the listener, programs our feed here, I'm Lee Evans saying stay spooky.
And I'm Brittany. Stay horrific.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening. To get a hold of us and submit your stories, fan mail, and death threats, you can find us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and nightofthehorrorfile.com. Our theme song was written and performed by John Brennan, used with permission. Find John at shopjb.bandcamp.com and at badtechno.com. If you like what you hear, leave a good review wherever you listen to podcasts, and share the show on your social media. See you next week.